years for Taylor played in the last couple of years under Bobby's system. How has that sort of gotten him prepared for this level in terms of what he does schematically, what he asks his quarterbacks to do within that system?
Well, first off, Coach did a great job of adapting, which really good coordinators do. They adapted. You know, if you look at quarterbacks that Coach Petrino's had in the past compared to this young man, different. They did adapting to his strengths, and you can see that. But I'm sure there were still core principles of the expectations that he has for their quarterbacks, and you could see the development over the few years. You know, from when he was at Boise, really developed as a passer. You can see that. Always has been able to run, and you can see that in his statistics. You can see when he was at Boise how few at times they threw it compared to where they were at Arkansas, how they felt more comfortable with his ability to throw the football down the field.
Todd, with Talon, Andrew made it clear that you guys view him as a quarterback first, but as your offensive mind that you are, do you sort of envision, or what are some of the other ways that you feel like maybe you can get him involved and get the ball in his hands given the skill set that you highlighted?
Well, that remains to be determined. I will say this, that it is very difficult to be elite at one position in the NFL, let alone two. I think teams are starting to find that out.
With obviously your long-time reputation as a really good quarterback, tutor, guru, how eager are you to get your hands on a quarterback like this with such raw physical ability and just almost kind of like mold him into like whatever he can kind of be?
Well, I mean, it's we're excited about any player that we get. So to be able to get, I wouldn't just single out him per se, other than we're excited with his skill set, and Coach Bajakian's excited to add someone with his traits that we're hopeful to be able to get, on the field and see what we got.
Look at your offense now, the players you have now compared to when the draft started. Do you see how your playbook could open up more, especially the two receivers you got?
Not yet. Haven't seen them yet. We'll have a better idea once they get here. Am I excited? Yes, I'm excited about the work that Andrew has done thus far. We have another pick left in his staff. I think it's been a great draft. But what matters is now once they get here, and then how we develop them and how we put them in the right places to let their talent shine.
Approach to players. This draft feels like so many of these guys have a lot of versatility. How does that play into your approach when you're looking to develop a young player, when they have played multiple positions, when they have that versatility as one of their skill sets that they're praised about?
Well, I think a huge strength of a player is versatility. And it's going to happen that way in the draft. Andrew and I were talking about that in the draft room of why certain linemen go higher in the draft than others. Is it a center only? Is it a guard only? Is it a tackle? We don't see their body type as a guard. Obviously, tackles are going to go sooner. Versatility-wise, is it a wide tight end that can block and also attack you vertically and separate? So all of that comes into play. But until we get those players here and get a chance to work with them, I don't know that yet. But we are excited about what we've seen on film and the anticipation that we can move them and have some flexibility in the spots that they play.
Taylor, you talked about the rare traits, and so did Andrew. How extra rare maybe to see it from a guy that size? I think he's more close to 6'6".
Well, you're exactly right, because those guys are playing basketball. I mean, that's you're seeing them on the basketball court. You're not seeing them play football, or at least not at that position. You'll see some taller wideouts that you'll get, But at quarterback, you don't see that very often, for sure.
You guys have three obviously very young quarterbacks now that you're going to be working on developing. And last year, these guys had to do two spotting in practice and some different things. Do you think that that will make it, kind of easier on you guys as a staff, knowing that they had to kind of do that last year? And will you do some of that? Will you try some two spotting and whatnot to get these guys up to speed?
Oh yeah, two spotting isn't new. I mean, it's not just for the quarterbacks, it's for all of your players. Toughest part is you have to divide up the staff. Your staff has to be willing to understand that you're not going to, when you're territorial as a coach, like you're going to have to allow the strength of our staff to split up and allow our guys to get reps. So ultimately, we'll end up two spotting, and having, a number of quarterbacks helps that. But I'm excited for all the players on our roster to be able to two spot and evaluate every single one of them.
Andrew mentioned how he thinks he's a perfect fit with your scheme. What is it about his skill set that matches what you want from that center position?
Well, you'd prefer a center with elite athleticism, but enough size and power to not get overwhelmed inside. Now, that's in a perfect world, obviously. Who doesn't want big, fast, smart, tough at every position, obviously? When you watch him on tape, you would not see the size deficiency. You athletic, powerful, uses hands well against the best competition that you can find in college football. So we were ecstatic when he was there, when we were able to pick. And we had him here for, our 30 visit. And I know Coach Warhop is excited about not only him, but all three of the guys that we've got that'll be here in a week. Well, no, 2 weeks. We go 2 weeks later.
Well, I know we talked to you after the first pick, but we didn't talk to you after KC was taken. How much of coming from Baltimore, like of Zay Flowers, do you kind of see in him in terms of the role that he might have in this offense?
Well, first of all, I love Zay Flowers. He is an elite player and an unbelievable person, and works awfully hard at it. And from the moment he got there, he popped. The way he played, his personality, his charisma. He brings some to the table. I don't know yet what KC's skill set. I think there's some traits there that are similar to that. But I loved when people spoke about KC. It reminded me of Zay in that, in terms of how he practiced, what he brings it every day. And that if you're looking for that comparison, that I can compare. That I believe he's going to bring that like Zay did.
Maybe not.
Could you see Taylor getting like a, I know we're putting the cart before the horse maybe a little bit, but with somebody that has that kind of, he's rushed for 30 touchdowns, whatnot, can you put a package in at some point during the season and try to utilize some of that raw athletic ability that he has for converting a fourth down?
I think there's some of that remains to be seen. Certainly, when you have a player with those kind of traits, when can you utilize those? Obvious reasons. Short yardage, goal line, 4 minute. Critical times when you got to be able to run the ball, and the defense is going to have an extra element in the box. Having an athletic quarterback can be critical to having success. So if he's able to do that, then we'll certainly put him in a position if we think that can help us win a game. I mean, for sure. Because it certainly adds some value with his ability to throw it compared when you get in those situations as opposed to having to go wildcat. It's not that Q can't throw it, but I would doubt he can throw it as well as the young man we just took. Now, he probably can't run it like Q can, but having the ability to still throw it. And that's part of the intrigue when you take a player with those kind of traits. When they start off as what can they do for you athletically, and then how can you develop the other parts of their game. Good. That's it. Thank you. Yep.
All right. Obviously, the weekend is not complete, but we've got a little bit of a break, or really a long break here before, our last pick and then the undrafted free agency process. We're really pleased with at least where we sit, as we head into the sixth round. We expect by the end of the weekend we'll be able to add, 10 rookies that we're really excited about, as well as, 2 future fourth-round picks in the 27 draft. At the onset of this, or I guess, last week, I talked about, our goal heading into the weekend is, not just the first round, but it's how do we maximize the resources that we head into the draft with, and that's whether, you're using those resources, some of them for veteran players, whether